Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. With all the things happening in the airline industry these days, the last thing they needed was an IT failure last week. And hopefully you weren't someone who got caught up in the mayhem of airline cancellations. So in a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join us to discuss the effect a cyber failure had on the travel industry as a whole, and what, if anything, we can do about it. Plus, we'll head to Waterton Lakes National Park along the Canada-U.S. border to get some tips on what to see and do there. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along to give us a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You didn't have any clients or anybody you knew that were affected by this cyber outage, this IT failure, and with the airlines last week?
No, luckily, touch wood, I have not had any issues. I did have a client that was scheduled to go to Cancun with WestJet, but they actually left 4 minutes early, so I'm grateful for that. It's surprising how our world centers around technology, and it can just affect so many aspects of our life, work and personal.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's really unbelievable how we are tied to technology, no matter what it is. If you want to see panic, just watch the debit go down or the ATM machines go down in a store and you see massive panic, but nothing like we saw with the airlines. So let's just rehash what happened.
Right. So the outage began on Thursday night, which was July 18th, and went into Friday morning after a faulty software upgrade from a cyber security company, CrowdStrike, to more than 8 million Microsoft computers around the world. And then it was revealed that it was a bug because that was able to get out in the world because of a failure of its quality control mechanism. So air passengers worldwide faced delays, flight cancellations, and headaches checking in as airports and airlines were caught up in this outage. And it also affected industries like from banks to media. It's back in the day when I started in travel, we used to handwrite tickets, and with this software going inoperative, some travelers were issued handwritten boarding passes, which is like really, going back in the day. I'm surprised, it's very, I guess, nobody knew what was going on, really. You go to the airport, nobody could tell you anything because they didn't know. And out of, 110,000 scheduled commercial flights on Friday, 5,000 were canceled globally, according to a global aviation analytics for Serum. And then it's just particularly sensitive, the aviation industry, because they rely so much on closely coordinated schedules run by air traffic control. The disruption affected systems using calculating aircraft weight, check-ins, communicating with crew in the air, which was a little scary, and its call center. So lots of ripple effects to this.
I guess the good news, if there was any of this, is that it didn't really affect the flying of aircraft. It was the ground operations. And you're right about handwriting tickets. I could remember a day where you used to get your ticket, and it would be like a triplicate copy, and one person would rip one part, and the other person would rip another part. And so, yeah, talk about going back to the old days. And Delta seemed to be the one that was really, really affected by this in North America.
Right. Yeah. They're one of the hardest hit, with up to 36% of its flights canceled, according to FlightWare. Now, as it stands right now, they're slowly getting back to normal, which is good. In Canada, Toronto-based Porter Airlines said all its flights were canceled till about early afternoon, and then they were slowly restoring it by Friday afternoon. Europe was affected. Like Ryanair, for example, 38% of its scheduled flights were delayed. And even airlines that were not directly affected said that they would they had to deal with all the delays due to the global nature of the disruption. So, if it's we're all circuitous in many ways. So, when it affects one, it affects another because they're trying to reaccommodate passengers.
Yeah, it's the triple down effect. Is there any compensation available from this? And I'm going to ask the $1,000,000 question. What can we do? I'm suppose not much. Like we really are hostage to technology now, aren't we?
Yes, because unlike in Europe, there's no legal requirement that airlines have to compensate passengers for lengthy delays. It's not clear if the IT issue would be deemed an airline caused delay or not. So that has to be looked at. In Europe, airlines are required to compensate passengers for delay of more than 3 hours. But it's unclear to what extent it would be legally held responsible. So the airlines have to prove that the outage was an extraordinary circumstance to not compensate passengers. And yeah, so I think what I was looking at the article about Delta, they were perhaps giving their Sky Miles points, more points, travel vouchers. But again, you have to go back to your airline and hopefully you book through your travel agent because they can help guide you with regards to what they've been told from
Mm-hmm.
airlines with regards to what they can, or the avenues that they can do to go after compensation if they were affected.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's again, it just goes back to it really is a crapshoot flying these days, and I guess it's one thing if you're flying for business or for a job or something like that, but if it's a family vacation that you take once every 5 years, and suddenly, whoop, there it goes. Again, the question that we always ask is, would travel insurance help in this case?
Well, always get insurance that covers you for travel interruption and disruption and cancellation. So that is an area that your trip would have been interrupted, right? So you might have incurred additional hotel costs, or maybe you had to go back and forth like to the airport, so transportation costs. So that would be something that I would claim against, in the insurance I purchased because. Um, you know, these incremental costs can escalate and it's out of your control.
Hmm. Well, and just the cost itself to the airlines alone, it's in the millions and millions of dollars of all the cancellations and lost revenue and future lost revenue, because if they're giving air miles away and flight vouchers, there's a dollar attached to everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, airfares as it stands is increasing in price. So this will only add to the future cost of your ticket.
Well, here's to better flying ahead. If we
Yes,
can
absolutely.
wish such a thing. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Always great to chat, Onanta. Thank you. Well, if the great outdoors is calling, one place you might want to check out is Waterton Lakes National Park. Located along the Canada-U.S. border in Southern Alberta, it's nature's paradise. So joining us now to give us some insight on all the great things to see and do in Waterton is Shamir Sulman, president of the Waterton Chamber of Commerce. MyWaterton.ca is the website. Hi, Shamir.
How you doing, buddy? It's been a while since we chatted.
It has been a while. I was saying off before we started this is that the last time I was in Waterton was in the winter in the middle of COVID. Not many people around the town. I'm guessing that's not the case this summer. How has the summer been?
It's busy. It's busy. It's funny. It's been a tale of two summers. It's been very odd. June, it was wet. It was cold. And then all of a sudden it like July hit and man, the switch just turned and it's been warm, hot, beautiful. So it's been a busy summer.
Well, and you have the advantage of being right along the U.S. border there. I'm thinking that you get Canadians coming from the north, you got Americans coming from the south, and they got this meeting spot that's absolutely gorgeous. So why wouldn't they stay there for a while?
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have a big U.S. contingent, during COVID, they did close the borders, and they opened that a couple of summers ago. So it was closed for 3-4 years, which was a big hit for us to have the border shut down. The one that's closest, the Chief Mountain border crossing. But now it's opened up. It's been open for a few years now, so the flow is back and free. And we also, of course, have all of our American visitors coming in, flying. And we have a huge international contingent now as well. A lot of European, Australian, a lot of Mexican, Indian. So we have a big international visitation now as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's unique too is that the lake, the main lake there, runs across the border, so you can actually go back and forth across the border, right?
You can. We've got some friends with speedboats, and we cruise down the lake, and you can see the cut line. You know, they've made a big cut line where the border is. Mm-hmm. You can go down into you can get off. There's nowhere to go from there. You can hike and register down there with the border guards that are actually posted and stationed on the other end, the U.S. border guards. But yeah, it's a free flow border, and you can go on the lake, and it's quite the amazing thing. And during COVID, you couldn't do that, so it's quite nice that that's back and open with our partners up to the south.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the water sports is a big thing there. Tell us about some of the other activities people love doing, and maybe some of the tours that people can do.
So it's been such a great time for us. The big thing is we got a dark sky designation out here in Waterton Lakes National Park, which is a big deal. So we do have the dark sky guides. That's been sort of the newest attraction out here. We do have paddleboarding rentals, canoe rentals up at up at Cameron Lake, as well as down here in the village. So you can rent paddleboards now, and it's been so fantastic. Of course, there's the shoreline cruise, the cruise that goes down into the states, down into Montana, and that's a must do when you're down here. The other thing that I actually love that I don't think gets used enough is the stables, the Alpine Stables trail riding. You can go through, and the family that owns that, and all the riders and guides that work, they've been around for generations. So the stories they have to tell as they're taking you out in the mountain, in the backcountry of Waterton Lakes National Park is just amazing. It's a highly recommend. And the other thing I don't think gets enough publicity out here is the golf course. We have a Stanley Thompson designed golf course. It is beautiful, backdrop of the mountains. I actually golfed it last night, and it's surprising how quiet it is. It's a beautiful 18-hole golf course, and it's just been taken over by Lakeland Management. So they've been pouring a ton of money into it, and it's really come a long way. So those are the big things that I would say. There's always Tamarack. That's a family that's been here for 100 years, and they do guided hikes, things like that. So that's another. If you're not used to, you're a little intimidated to do these bigger hikes on your own, a guided hike is an amazing way to do it and experience it, and then hear about all the history in Waterton Lakes National Park.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think a guided hike, because you don't know what you don't know, that old phrase, right? And you learn so much when you have a guide with you that you would never probably even know about if you're on your own.
Oh, for sure. And then they can look at your family and say, you know what, I got little ones. These are the right hikes for you. This is my skill level. These are the right hikes for you. Because it's very family friendly out here. We do have the new splash park and playground that they've just built. And of course, I have to talk about the visitor center. They built that $30 million visitor center here, which is absolutely stunning. And they do a lot of interpretive shows, Parks Canada does. And so, it's a lot of great things for families out here to do.
Tell me, like there's Waterton, the town, of which you're the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and then there's the park. So what do people need to know? Because they are entering a national park. There's a few things that are different than maybe, say, if you were outside the park.
Yeah, so we're a national park. We're actually an international peace park with Glacier National Park. But Parks Canada, their mandate is, of course, to protect the environment, which is the reason what brings all of our tourists in here to see the natural beauty of Waterton. The big things are teaching us how to preserve our environment, making sure we learn and understand about our environment, the species that are inside this park, We have an abundance of animals here. The big thing we're trying to do this year, or Parks Canada's big mandate this year, is to protect our waterways, protect our lakes. There's an invasive mussel that has started to invade a lot of the lakes out here in the west, and they really multiply at an enormous rate, and they put off a terrible odor and make your water all murky. It's very difficult to near impossible to get rid of them. So we're really working hard towards making sure that does not enter our waters, because we have these beautiful crystal clean waters. So it's important for our guests to know that they can't bring their own watercrafts to Waterton Park this year anyways. Every watercraft has to be inspected and can't be in any other waterway for 90 days. But you can rent canoes, paddleboards. You can rent it all here, and these have all been inspected, and they never leave the park. So there's some misconception or some bad, unknowledgeable social media posts that say, oh, there's no watercraft of any kind allowed on the lake, which is just not true. You can't bring your own, and that's to protect our waterways.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the accommodations. That's right up your alley. How far in advance do I have to book now for the rest of the summer, or is it all booked up?
We're not all booked up. We're a smaller park, so there's only about 370 hotel rooms in the entire park. That's all the hotels put together. So do I say book in advance? 100% book in advance. But that by no means we're sold out. We always leave rooms for walk-ins, for guests that just come in. But I would always say book in advance. You can book on any website or any platform. But there is availability for sure. There is. So I would say, book it and come on down. It's a different feeling when you come down here because all the beauty, I always say, of Waterton, or the allure, or what makes us different, is we're all family owned and operated. Mm-hmm. So you get to know every owner. He's there. You come to the Bay Shore, you're probably going to see me roaming around, and I'm the owner. So you'll see me check a guy in. You'll see me in one of my restaurants. You'll see me at one of my hotels. And same goes with all the other businesses. So it's definitely a more of a family touch we're putting on all these, all of our accommodations.
Do you cut the grass too?
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do. If I have to, I do it.
A hands-on owner. We should give a plug for your places, though. Like, which are your places?
So I do own the Bay Shore Inn and Spa. It's kind of the only hotel right on Waterton Lake, on the main lake there. So we're very lucky. And then we've got a bunch of restaurants, the Lakeside Chop House. They're all kind of on the water, and the Thirsty Bear Kitchen and Bar. And if you want something, the center of the village, it's a little more, let's say a little more high-end, would be the Waterton Glacier Suites. It's a beautiful little hotel. It's got a beautiful little Italian restaurant in it. Those are my places. And you're gonna love it down here.
Is overcrowding an issue? I know we on past podcasts we've been talking about some places in Europe that are getting overcrowded, and even Banff has its issues. Is that a problem, or have you managed to handle that so far?
The one thing I think we're lucky is there is only 370 rooms, and so you're only so busy, you're only so full. The campgrounds, they fill up quite fast, and there's only X amount of campgrounds in the area. We're not like Banff, as in we don't have a Canmore, we don't have a Lake Louise, we don't have other attractions with more accommodations. What's here is what's here. And if you're coming down here, you're staying here. It does get crowded for sure on on Saturdays and Sundays with day traffic, people that are kind of coming in for the day to hike. For sure, it does get busy. I would always suggest, either getting a hotel room or coming down. If you're coming down for, day traffic, just down for the day, come during the week. You'll avoid the big crowds on Saturdays and Sundays. But, even on our crowdest, even on the busiest days, there's no comparison to, bigger places like Banff. I go down there and I'm like, oh my God, so many people here. So I wouldn't even, we're not even in the same category, busy-wise.
And of course, in a month or two, it'll be fall, and I'd imagine the fall colors around there are spectacular, and the crowds have dispersed a bit, and still another great time to enjoy the park.
It is my favorite time of year. September is my favorite time. The weather is beautiful. all the animals are out. I mean, all of them. That's when you get the moose. That's when you get the bighorn sheep. That's when you get, I don't want to say bears, but you do see them. Of course, the deers are everywhere. But, you get to, that's when the elk start coming in. The weather's still beautiful. And yes, you're right. The colors are changing. And the big crowds the families are gone because the kids are back in school. So it's it's a busy time, but it's like, I don't know, you don't have those big crowds, but it's my favorite time to visit for sure.
And you don't have to stay up so late to enjoy the dark sky. It gets dark sooner.
You do not.
Anything else you want to add?
You know what? I do want to send a little shout out to all of our friends up in Jasper. We're thinking about you. We're there for you. We're praying for you. We've been through it in 2017. We went through it, and to hear about it gave us all a little PTSD because we know what it's like. And so our thoughts and prayers are with all of our fellow hospitality staff, tourists up there in Banff, as well as Parks Canada staff.
Well said. Shamir Suleiman is the president of Waterton Chamber of Commerce. mywaterton.ca. You'll see some gorgeous pictures of the park area and the town site. Thanks for your time, Shamir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Randy.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me as well with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler. On Instagram at Informed Traveler, or you can follow me on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, we'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir. How was your week?
It's really good to see with you. This last week, we were at Avalon and WindStar Travel Asian event. And tons of great information, I thought, and all kinds of ideas for river cruising with Avalon and ocean sailing on WindStar, with you can choose between the real sailing ships that actually have sails, or they have some boutique yachts, which are really, really cool. And with sailings available now all year long, pretty much, because a lot of them will do the Mediterranean and the Christmas markets and everything over there. So there's something for everybody.
Yeah, it was really cool. The Christmas market one looks really, really nice, where you kind of just, the way the ships are designed, you don't really have a balcony. Your balcony is your cabin. You just open up the big bay windows or the big windows, and there it is.
Yeah, I think you just want to go for the glue wine, though, right? Avalon surprised me. I didn't realize they had over 70 plus itineraries on all their European waterways that they do, and they're almost all inclusive. And one of their current offers is for free airfare or savings up to $1,600 a person on select 2025 dates, and many of those also have no solo supplements on a lot of those, so great for our solo travelers. And as you mentioned, they've got really large suites and no real balconies, but you have floor-to-ceiling windows and a door that totally slides open, so you feel like you're outside without having to go sit out there. And that makes your suite even a little bit bigger because you're using that space inside rather than outside for as often as you might go outside, but you still have that feeling because you can put your chairs and everything right there. And like you say, the beds face the outside, so if you want to, the hardest thing you got to do is get out of bed and slide the window open, the door rather, and then jump back into bed and just enjoy the scenery as you sail by.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And again, they've got the three choices of styles that they call it. They have their classic or active discovery. And again, you can choose from biking, hiking, kayaking. You can just stroll on your own. You could paint. You can take a cooking class, including going to the market to pick up your ingredients and much, much more. So again, lots of choices for everybody. And I think we'd be hard pressed to find something that wouldn't suit you. And WindStar as well. Andrea did a really great presentation. Again, they've got ships from the smaller ones with the sails and everything for 124 guests up to their yachts. holding only a maximum of 342 guests. And again, these, 342 guests is not all that big. So they're still intimate ships. And they sail in the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, and even down in Tahiti, which I know is on your wife's list to experience Bora Bora sometimes. I noticed you perk up a little bit when we talked about Tahiti. And choose what suits you best, from cruise only to their all-inclusive fares. So you have a choice of two different price points. And every Thursday they come out with their 7 for 7 deals. And we've mentioned these quite often. So they'll put 7 cruises on sale for 7 days. So if you're thinking Windstar, give us a call and we'll keep an eye out for your sailing as well, too, so that you don't have to do all the work. Adventurous, come along on, they've got a sailing on April the 1st of 2025. It's round trip Athens for 8 days. And it's called the Windstar's President Mystery Sailing. So they're going to go to ports over in Greece that they don't usually do on their cruises, which is really, really cool. And the other thing I thought was kind of interesting is you don't know where you're going until 24 hours before your next stop. It's a surprise. So
that's why it's called a mystery sailing. You don't know where you're going.
Exactly. I think it'd be really cool. And again, like I say, the smaller ships, so you're able to get into ports, and a lot of the big ships and everything can't on your own. So, and again, if you've got a few friends, it doesn't take much. We can do a group for you. All you need is 8.
Yeah, that's what I like. Their groups, minimum 8. It doesn't take much to get a family or just a group of friends together to qualify for that group rate, right?
Exactly. And if Windstar doesn't suit your Tahiti needs, and we talk about our friends over at Paul Gauguin a lot, our cruising partner in the South Pacific, they include round-trip travel between Los Angeles and Papeete on Air Tahiti Nui in their cruises. You have pre- and post-cruise day rooms available at the Intercontinental Tahiti Resort, transfers between the ship and the airport and the hotel, along with your all-inclusive sailing, so you can always spend an extra few days with your wife if she wants to go to Bora Bora and spend another couple of days besides your stop there. I mean, I can picture you and your wife, too, doing a paddleboard right off the back of the ship while on a stop in one of the destinations. And they also welcome all solo travelers with 0 single supplement on a wide selection of their 7 to 14 night all-inclusive voyages. So treat yourselves to some genuine hospitality and pampered luxuries unique to the Paul Gauguin group, and indulge in the serenity of this overwater bungalow, really, that sails. No additional costs.
Well, I don't know if I would do the paddleboard, but I would maybe do kayaking.
Kayaking? Again, all the water sports are done right off the back of the ship. Which
I'd rather sit than stand.
Well, you can sit on a paddleboard and paddle.
Well, this is true. That is true. I never thought of that.
We've mentioned a lot of river and ocean sailings that have savings expiring on July 31st. A few days left on those on recent podcasts. And again, one that just came out this week and expiring on July 31st. New sailings with Viking Ocean cruises to Japan, China, or Tibet, or combinations. Special fares and airfares, all for only a $25 deposit. And Princess as well has a quick one that's expiring July 31st, up to $2,000 onboard credit and $300 shore excursion credits on new bookings for 2026 South America and Antarctica sailings.
Cool. Antarctica would be cool.
It would be. And 2026 sounds like it's a long way out, but when we're booking cruises, it surprisingly sneaks up on you quick enough. So, again, get yourselves locked in and get those savings.
Cool. Okay.
We, again, talk a lot about where does what the suppliers consider summer season, which usually require time for travel to sun destinations, so we don't talk a lot about a lot of offers. And sales are so strong that we're not seeing a lot of offers yet for next winter season as well. So we can start looking at getting you away in 2025 if you didn't get away here in 2023-24 winter season. Suppliers and resorts have got everything all loaded for the sun and beach destinations. So remember, a lot more of the popular dates like Christmas, New Year's, family dates have been selling really, really well for the last 3-4 months. And some resorts are almost sold out. So, depending on what the dates are. So give us a call. Let's just discuss your plans and see what we got for you.
Yeah, if you're looking for a specific date, you don't want to wait too long, right?
No. And again, my favorite 4-letter word, who doesn't like free? Each week we get people joining our free travel club. Right from our website, getting all those extra perks and offers, many times in addition to suppliers' best offers. So if we have sales on a lot of these suppliers and they happen to be our supplier of the month or of the week, you can double dip. So you can put those two together when booking through our office as the official Travel Savers affiliate here in Calgary. So if you're going to book, use that free phone call. You never know what we might gain for you.
Nice.
And lastly, remember, online pricing is almost always identical to what agents can find for you. But not only can we assist you before, help with some suggestions, ask you a few questions that your computer's not answering for you, then assist during and, if necessary, after the trip, if, heaven forbid, there was an issue. Booking online, you're essentially still dealing with a travel agent in the sense, but you've got no personalized service or conversations, a lot of times long hold times on phones, looking after everything by yourself if you have a misconnect or a flight delayed or, things like that. So if you've never used a real-life travel agent, try one out. We're here for you, and just how much more enjoyable in the end your vacation is as well.
Absolutely. It's always better to talk to a human rather than a computer.
Exactly.
What's the phone number if people want to call?
In Calgary, 403-241-7140, and outside Calgary, call us toll-free, 1-877-511-5511. Relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Enjoy your week, everyone.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.